I'm the homicide lieutenant with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I appreciate you coming out here this morning to highlight a very important case that our homicide section has been working on for the last several years. And I'll kind of walk you through this entire case on why you're here this morning. Back in October of 2017, we received a report from a family member stating that they had not heard from their brother in over a month. And the family member stated that the last contact they had with their brother was in August of 2017. That family member stated that through the last conversation that the victim, David Rathbun, had told her that he was going to allow a female who was down on her luck to move in with him. That female is believed to be Jolene Hibbs, Hibbs. So the last contact she had was in August of that year. A month goes by, she doesn't hear anything. She's trying to get a hold of her brother, no contact, nothing. She's noticing some weird behavior that's happening from her brother's financial accounts. So then she reaches out to our missing persons section. That's in October of 2017. Missing Persons begins an investigation. They start looking into the whereabouts of David Rathbun, and they are not able to find anybody who has seen David alive after September of 2017. David played in a bowling league that he never showed up for. He was signed up for 3 separate tournaments. He was a no-call, no-show for those tournaments. He also is in a hiking group that he never showed up for. Missing Persons began their investigation and then started to find out there was a lot of fraudulent activity taking place on David's accounts. We also learned that David's house was being sold for well below market value. The missing persons detectives then reached out to the homicide section because we felt at that point there was a belief that David was murdered. After being briefed, homicide then took over this investigation because at that point we also believed that David may have been the victim of a murder. Through our investigation, we started looking into all the financials, and we were able to track down dozens of fraudulent transactions that took place all over the valley, from hair salons to Home Depot and Lowe's type stores, where purchases were made using David's credit cards that were obviously not David. Then looking into the actual house transaction, we learned that someone was posing as David and actually tried to sell his house, again, for well below market value. We then learned that both of his vehicles, a motorcycle and a BMW, had been sold as well. We reached out to the new owner of the BMW, and we got consent from that person to do a analysis of the vehicle for blood and DNA evidence. Inside the back of the vehicle, we did find blood evidence in the trunk of the car. We took that blood evidence and we reached out to a family member and conducted what we call familiar DNA. From that DNA sample, we were able to determine that the blood that was found in the trunk of the vehicle was David Rathbun's blood. From there, the investigation went on. We went into the house. We conducted a search of the house that was sold, the victim David's house. There was obviously signs that the house had been cleaned up. We noticed in a bedroom that there was new carpeting that had been put down. We went in with our CSI technicians and brought in some luminol, and we were able to find blood evidence inside the house that also corroborated our belief that he was deceased. Then several months later, we were able to get information that led us to a mine shaft in rural Arizona. With the Mojave County Sheriff's Office, with their assistance, they were able to search several mine shafts, and inside one of the mine shafts, we did discover a body that was later determined to be David Rathbun. Over the last couple of years, we have tried extensively to find both the suspects, who are Charles, and I'll spell the last name, Ausiello, Charles Ausiello, and Jolene Hibbs. We have had no contact whatsoever, or those two have not had any contact with law enforcement, and I urge anyone in the community who has information that would lead to their whereabouts to please reach out to us. You can do that anonymously, and there's also reward money through Crime Stoppers. If you do it through Crime Stoppers, you just call them, provide the information, and they'll give you a code that is not even traceable to you, so that way you can completely remain anonymous. You can also reach out to the Homicide section at homicide@lvmpd.com. This case has taken us, again, close to 3 years to put together, but we now have 2 active arrest warrants for both the suspects behind us for open murder, and it's time to bring closure to this victim's family and make sure these 2 are held accountable for the crime that they committed. So with that, I will take a couple questions. We don't know where the suspects are. I can tell you we've had arrest warrants in the system for fraud charges for over 2 years. Those charges are extraditable nationwide because when we put those in the system, we believed that they were going to be the suspects, and we wanted to find them anywhere in the country. And they have had no contact anywhere in the United States with law enforcement that we have been able to determine. So no clue at this point where they could be.
How'd you get that tip with the mine trap?
I'm going to not get into that part of the investigation. There was a tip that came in that led us to believe that he could possibly be in a mine shaft. That tip was very specific, and again, I'm going to stay away from the specifics on it.
You haven't identified these people. Do they have a criminal history?
We did have involvement with both of them. There are police involvement that led us to obtain mugshots from them, and that is how we obtained photo lineups where we were able to actually put the case together. But again, it's been years of hard work and cooperation from various agencies throughout the department and many people that have come forward to try to help. And that's why I urge anybody who has any information to please reach out to us.
Do you guys have any idea of the sort of motive that they had for killing him?
We don't know the motive. We do know that David had allowed the female to come in and stay. Basically, from what we're learning is that he was trying to help her out because she was down on her luck. And according to the sister, he was becoming concerned because she was allowing her, in her words, the shady boyfriend to come around, which we believe is going to be Charles. So thank you. I'm sorry.
They're still in the Southwest region or in the city?
We have absolutely no idea where they are in the United States. We have tried through all various law enforcement means to locate them, and we've, again, have no idea where they are. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.